William Connor,
Here.
Ron Hembolt,
Here.
Thad Taylor, Lee Trucks,
Yes.
Catherine Kenny,
Present.
Angie Quinn,
Yes.
Dennis Otto.
Teresa, could you reach out to Dennis, because he's missed,
3, I believe.
is it?
Yeah. Yep,
in a row.
sure.
I have not seen him. Has anybody seen him? Is he around, or?
I saw him in the fall a few times, but not,
Yeah,
not several
I
weeks.
saw him a few times out at the Health Connection, but I haven't seen him recently. Okay, next item on the agenda is the reelection of officers. We're going to handle this.
Well, I can go ahead. I've got the script for it.
Go
Yep.
ahead.
Yep.
We turn over running the thing to you, and
Yes, thank you. We will now open the floor for nominations for, get this here.
all officers should be on.
Yes, just officers for that. So do we have any nominations? If so, please state your name for the record and the name of your nomination.
I'm William Connor, and I nominate Lee Trucks to be chair.
I support.
You decline?
He declines.
My name is Angie Quinn, and I nominate Kathy Kinney. Did I say that right? Catherine Kenny.
I would second that.
Well, I'm surprised. Thank you, and I accept the nomination.
Okay. So the commissioner, go over this. Sorry, this is new for me to do.
It's like they have to do a
What do they have to do? Oh, motion by the commissioner, and then we need a second by the commissioner to elect Catherine
To
Kenny.
nominate.
Yes,
To nominate.
to nominate, sorry.
Nominate. Okay.
So,
For any other nominations?
so. Yes, do you have any further nominations? So I want to go over back again, which terms are expiring? So we have William Connor, Thad Taylor, and we have Catherine Kenny.
Expiring when?
So, February of 2024. So those are the 3. So do we have any other further nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay. Staff will take votes on each nomination in order they are made. After tallying yes, no, staff will announce a nominee that receives the majority of the votes. May I have a motion and a second to accept the results of the vote? Sorry. So I just,
So moved.
You vote first.
so we'll go ahead and vote. Do I need to do the list all the way down with everybody, or you're all set?
Do you want a roll call?
Yeah, do you want a roll call?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you?
Yep, I'll do it.
Okay.
Commissioner Connor,
Yes.
Commissioner Hembolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Trucks,
Yes.
Do I abstain?
Commissioner Kenny,
You can vote for yourself. It's okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Do I say it even though it's not here? Commissioner Otto. Okay. Passes.
So I can turn the meeting back over to you, Lee.
I think we turn.
Is there a vice chair on the committee, or is it,
Vice chair and a secretary.
you don't have to go through election as well, or?
Yes, they do.
Okay, and so nobody's ever told me who the other vice chair and secretary are.
I'm the vice chair.
Sorry.
I know he ran a meeting once, so yeah, down there.
And secretary. Okay.
I nominate Bill Connor as vice chair.
I decline. I'm going to be ending my term at the February 24 meeting.
Okay.
Be 6 years. It's enough.
Okay.
Thank you for your service, Bill.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to nominate Angie Quinn.
Okay, so for vice chair.
Move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Sorry, that was a roller coaster. Apologies. All right.
Move the nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for Angie Quinn.
Sport.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Angie.
Look forward to working. I guess I better apply for
24
another
days.
term.
Okay, we now need a nomination for secretary.
Nominate Thad Taylor.
Thad presently holds the position, correct?
Correct.
Okay, can we just move that he remain in the position? That,
I second your nomination.
I
okay,
move the nominations be closed.
you'll have to give
I
Thad
move the
the,
nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for Thad Taylor.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Moving on.
I don't know what the right time to ask this question is, but my term ends February of 2024. Do I participate in the meeting in February of 2024?
Yes, because it is February 28th, 2024.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
If you would, please.
Yeah, I'll be here. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to turn the chairmanship over to Catherine.
Thanks. I'm not really prepared for this, but I'll do the best I can.
You'll be fine. We'll do this together.
So we just completed the election of officers, now we're moving on to approve the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Does anybody have a conflict of interest that they would like to share with the commission?
when do you want me to bring that up?
Under new, or probably old business.
Okay,
Yep, under old business. Go ahead.
Moving on to the approval of last month's minutes.
Move to approve.
okay, I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Take a vote to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any correspondence you would like to share with us today?
Nope, I don't have any.
Is there any public comment on the agenda items? Hearing none, we're going to move on to new business. The shop's at Heritage Square with Mr. Robert Grass. Welcome.
Thank you. Please excuse my grunginess. I was working in the shops all day. Furnace went out in Unit 101.
I don't know.
I have the completed application here.
Thank you. And you were correct, it did have that on the second line about your, the canopy and stuff, but thank you, no, I appreciate it.
No, no problem. I brought many pictures, which Teresa's already put up there, but yeah, just to kind of go over them. This is a view from the roof. Well, maybe I can start here. These are the buildings that used to be there. This is early 1960, that constructed. So demolition started in 1956, and company in Ludington began construction in 1958, and the building was open sometime in 1959. If you look carefully, the original roof over design is very thin and was supported by a lateral truss of some sort that was built in. And at some point, it was changed to a cantilevered I-beam construction. These are actually I-beams, and what happened is somebody went through and broke out courses of brick and drove the I-beams in, which are these two pictures, which I actually have in color. They're a little easier to see.
I can pass those on for you.
Drove those in so that you could support more weight. I imagine that let's see, yep, there's that way and this way.
I have a quick question, Mr.
Yes.
Graff. What's your relationship to this building?
I own it.
You own it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry. I purchased 390 River Street from Dr. Garden. We started the process early July and closed on Halloween, which seems appropriate given how spooky this building has been. So as I was saying, they stripped several courses of bricks, cantilevered in the I-beams, and then did a very poor job of closing up what holes they had made. They used some aluminum flashing, and that detail tells me that the date of this particular modification of this building has to be circa mid-1970s, because prior to that in the building trades, aluminum flashing was not used. Aluminum is a material that until recently has been a little bit difficult to work with, so the flashing would have been tin or anodized or galvanized sheet metal. The fact that it's aluminum tells me that, you know, it's not original to the building. And then I have, if you look at some of the other pictures, you can see these more recent pictures. These are modifications that Dr. Garding did, are different. All the windows were replaced with shorter windows, and then metal plates were inserted above the windows and then covered with a vinyl graphic provided by Johnson Signs. And then this structure was put over the I-beams, which is strips of, aluminum on the bottom. And then as you can see on the top, it's basically an open structure. So what's occurring right now, when I bought the building, there was also a large purple cloth awning all the way around. And we had that removed immediately before I knew I had to ask, simply because part of the frame that was connected to was damaged. The wind, it had been replaced, my salesperson from Johnson Signs told me it had already been replaced twice because the wind would rip it, and it was in danger of falling down and hurting someone. So we took that down. Johnson Sign Company did. But you can tell that this absolutely is not original to the building. So what's happening now is these I-beams are no longer level. I don't know how they're fastened in the interior of the building, but they're not done well. If you look down, if you were to stand like how this picture is and look down this, you would see waves and curves, especially near the front door. The I-beams have somehow cantilevered upwards so that all around the front door, like right now, there's a huge puddle because all the water runs back towards the building, leaks down through this broken aluminum flashing, and drips on people. And it was very interesting to watch the sleigh bell parade in front of my new building while everyone around me complained about water dripping on their heads. We kind of kept it low key that I was the owner, didn't want that advertising. But you can see that this is a close-up that a worker from Johnson Signs took here and here of the courses of brick that are missing. This is the I-beam that slid in, and then someone pounded some wood down in between and simply left it like that. They also dug the mortar joint out of the bricks below to stuff flashing in, but then didn't mortar it back in. So the end result is that a couple things are happening. Number one, we're getting water inside the building. Now, the front wall of the building is a steel beam, of course, acting as a lintel above these, but there's also block. And we do have some effervescence in a couple places where the block is exposed. So I know that there's water entering into the block. Structurally, the worker went up on a 12-foot ladder, and his intent was to walk along the beams, and as he pulled himself up on the first beam, he felt it move, and he declined the opportunity to continue his adventures. So I cannot vouch for the structural stability of this structure. As you can see, the beams are not even the full width of the canopy. The beams come out to here, and then they're clamped onto a railing, and then this railing is simply held to this railing by the strips of aluminum, which is not how I would do it. I would frame that in a little bit better. So all of this concerns me for a couple of reasons. Number one, I really want this building to become better looking. I want it to look more Victorian. The I-beam and aluminum construction is not classic Victorian construction materials. Two, I think it's a danger to people passing underneath it. And three, I don't want water in my building. I've invested a lot of money in this building. I've already put as much money into the building in the interior, and I haven't built anything yet. I've already put that much money in as what we paid for it. So I'm not a hit and run guy. This is long term. What we're doing is there's full retail spaces in the front. We've removed the entire dentist office, and we're putting 5 more retail spaces in the back, and we divided one of the front ones in half. So we will have 10 retail spaces that will all be small businesses, local businesses, entrepreneurs, things of that nature. So it will be, the building is named Heritage Square. It's above the front doors in some bold lettering. So the building will be called the Shops at Heritage Square. And the idea is just to have a mini mall of things that are needed. February 1st, in the front window room, Suite 101, Riverside Toys will be opening. And that's a huge thing because there's no toy stores in Manistee. And that's big. We have an antique store over here. I have a CPA in there right now. I have people committed. I have a photography studio that's going to be doing souvenir pictures, you know, like with you could get like backgrounds from Manistee, like the big ships and everything during the summer. But she does portraits, she does senior pictures, she does weddings. We don't have not that I'm aware of, we don't have a picture studio in Manistee. They're pretty rare. So, and a crochet lady that teaches classes and makes hats and scarves and sweaters that my dogs love. So I think it's going to be a really good thing for Manistee and for small businesses to be able to get a start, because by having that many under one roof and sharing the load of the expense, excuse me, I can rent these spaces out for pretty small. I'm right around $3 a square foot, which in commercial terms is ridiculously low. If you look other places, even here in Manistee, the average is somewhere between $9 and $15 a square foot. So it's really going to give the small entrepreneur a chance to do some things. And we've got future plans. I've got a huge basement, an 8,000 square foot basement that's just wide open. You know, many things have been suggested, some of which obviously we're not going to do. No, axe throwing is not coming to downtown Manistee. That one got a lot of support. No, we're not going to have motorized go-kart course in the basement because there's cement columns everywhere. But we will have something down there. We've got a lot of ideas. The most popular idea that we've had on our Facebook page is parents saying, do something for the kids. Do a mini golf course, do an escape room, do a science museum, do something. And so we're exploring that. I'm way off on a tangent. I'm good at that. We have a sign design proposed by Johnson Signs, if I pass that around. I don't know.
Yep, they have that in their packet. Yep.
Okay. So the only question is, it's hard to say exactly what we want to do with the front of the building until we start taking it apart, because we don't know how these I-beams are attached inside. If it's a simple matter of they're cantilevered in 4 or 5 feet and they're not welded or bolted to anything, then it's going to be pretty easy to remove them. We'll simply, we'll have a couple guys and a couple of crane trucks, and we can slide them out and take care of them easily. If they are welded or bolted to something inside, that would be concerning, because of the fact that they're cantilevered makes me wonder what's going on inside. But they would have to be either cut off or simply all of the aluminum material removed, eliminating safety hazards, and then incorporating the I-beams into the new canopy structure. And Johnson Signs has provided me with several different ideas as to what we can do. They have a really neat, well, they're great at coming up with ideas. I just have to pay for them. They had this idea, if we got rid of all the beams, to do a classic canopy style done in copper so that it would age over time. Ignore that sign. I don't like that. Our sign needs to be down here. I'll pass that around.
Sure,
Understanding that.
sure.
They've got other canopy ideas if we have to keep the,
Oh, I see.
yeah, the sign no good. It's the same problem with the sign that Dr. Gardine had up there. You can only see it if you're across the street and down a ways because that canopy comes out so far, it blocks everything above it. And then they gave us,
The only over the entrance area.
no, it's the full width of the building. It's 76 feet long. It's a monster. Yeah, thank you. This is alternate canopy designs that could be used to go over the steel beams if we need to keep them. I favor this one, the rounded ended waterfall with optional dormer.
This one right here.
And by we, I mean my wife.
You think those I-beams through the years have actually moved up and down?
There's no way they were installed that way.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
So what happens if you have to take them all out? As far as from our viewpoint, we're looking at the front of the building from a historical perspective. So,
If I have to take them all out, there's going to be scarring on the front of the building. There's at least 2 courses of brick missing. There's pockets where the I-beams are. So we'd either have to patch them, which is going to be difficult because we'd have to tent the front of the building and heat it, to do any masonry work in the winter. Or we would simply, cover them with something to prevent water from coming in and go with a canopy structure that could be installed, lightweight frame, rigid or semi-rigid material that follows the historic district guidelines, which I read over. That would cover that up and bring the building a little bit closer to looking like it belongs.
So, when it was built in 57, it looked like it belonged. It was a continuation of
Right.
100 years of growth on the main retail street. So taking out, which obviously is a really poor substitute for what was there originally,
Yeah.
is a good idea.
I don't-
Replacing it with something that is still appropriate to the character and age of the building would seem to me to be the more appropriate thing to do than a fabric canopy or whatever these are that Johnson Brothers is designing. Did you consider putting in something else that would have that mid-century feel?
Well, my plan is in the spring, I wanted to do it before the cold weather hit, but we're going to paint the exterior in the same color scheme that's used inside and the building immediately to my left. Can't really see it there. And that's not a current painting, but it's,
But it's not painted now, is it?
yes, yeah, it's a cream with green, purple, and then gold pinstripe highlights. And it's like a 4-unit, but only the last unit, which is right next to me, is painted that way. And Dr. Gardine told me that his secretary loved that color scheme, and so that's why all of the trim inside the building, inside the front 4 spaces that were done when I bought it, are all done that way. It's got filigree woodwork and columns, and they're all painted that way. And it's all the spaces we're going to put in are all going to copy that. We're reusing materials. We're buying materials that match that. So it's, I want it to look more. I want it to look less mid-century. I'd like it to look older. I'd like it to look more like the buildings across the street from me, or even next to me.
Yeah.
The metal frames around the windows have been painted purple. I didn't do that, but they're there. But then the entry module is all chrome and glass, and it looks strange. So we want to paint that too. And yeah, I mean, I grew up in a town with a downtown that was very much like this, but it was very draconian in terms of like what you could and couldn't do. Everything was that old. And I actually lived above one of the stores for a summer when I came home from college, and my parents declined to rent me my room back. Well, the rent was too high, so plus my mom took it over. So I really have an affinity for these older buildings, and I think that our building can really, I think with a minimum of adjustments, it can fit in and look authentic rather than, to me, it just, I mean, I know it was right at the time, but to me, it just now looks very out of place. You know, when you look at the buildings all on my block leading up to mine, and they're all 2 and 3 stories, and then mine's 1 story, and it's chrome, and it's glass, and it's metal, and it's brick color that's not even common, and then Glick's, other than the blue canopies, looks very nice and has the nice ornate window moldings and everything, and we can emulate a lot of that.
So you're talking about taking a mid-century modern building and make it look Victorian?
Yeah, that would be my goal.
I'm not sure that's
It'll take
possible.
some doing.
And I'm not sure it's appropriate. And
Right.
honestly, the Historic Preservation District is created to preserve the character-defining features. And you set up a time period of significance, which for this district goes to almost 1950. The cutoff for, at the time it was done was, they chose that. Had they gone another 10 years, this would have been considered, because it's a really good example of that time period. And again, this is the end of main streets as we know them, like the last kinds of buildings that were built before we all started building out on the edge of town in a shopping strip. So this actually is kind of cool from that standpoint. It kind of marks the end point of the growth of the downtown. And so I totally agree with you that the damaged awning, the current canopy should come down. I'm just concerned that the removing the original intent, when the building was built, I don't know that you need to go that far to still make it feel like a really cool part of Main Street, in this case, River Street. But
Well, I mean, obviously, anything that I'm going to do to the exterior will have to be approved by this committee, so I guess we can focus on the canopy for today and hash out the future in the spring.
Are you working with a designer or an architect at all?
Yes, Kendra Thompson is currently doing the drawings for the, we're not really making, we're just building some partition walls, basically. Once we got the demo permit and cleared out the dentist's office, which was all partition walls. The building is built as a freestanding structure with columns and beams, so you could make it wide open if you wanted to. So when we construct everything, it's just interior walls, fire code drywall and all that, and we're figuring out right now if we have to retro install fire suppression or if we can do balcony exits off the Riverwalk side. That's something that that Kendra and Mr. Blow need to decide amongst themselves.
Is Kendra doing any exterior design work for you? Because that's really what this commission would be interested in. Your interior layout is really
Right.
none of our
I
business.
haven't really moved that far. I hadn't done, honestly, when I bought the place, I didn't plan to touch the exterior until I was done with the interior. The exterior draws people in, but the interior pays the bills, if I'm being blunt. And only the fact that we've had so many problems has caused me to have to address this particular issue out of time sequence.
Have you thought about replacing the canopy that looks similar to what it is right now?
Well, but the canopy would be attached to what is there right now. And what is there, I don't trust it any further than I could throw it.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand I'm sure they were looking at snow weight or something. They
Exactly.
said, oh yeah, we need to stick that in
yeah.
there farther. But obviously they didn't come up with what
I
was
don't-
really
yeah.
the solution. So,
It really makes me wonder what they're attached to.
you know, and I'm not suggesting what you come back with as what your plan is for the replacement, but a way to keep that is to make it as simple as possible. So
Okay.
if you were showing us those other things, something that's still has that linear look and a minimum of changes, it would be probably better than a waterfall look. That was one of the things that was a little funky about the one that was there, is it was like a 90s awning on a 50s building.
Oh, the purple,
Yeah.
yeah, I always joke that it looked like a Ramada Inn from the 70s or something.
I would agree
And I
with you
didn't
on
say
that.
it very frequently, I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but the second I saw the building, I'm like, I've stayed at this hotel. Yeah, I understand that. Madeline Lamb is my salesperson from Johnson Sign, and so she and I will work together to come up with something. The sign design is great, we just have to figure out what to do with this. And it's hard to figure out what we can do until we know what's going to be involved in taking the I-beams out, or if we leave them. If we leave them, we'll have to do something, we'll probably put something along the top to try to level everything out, and then incorporate them into the new design. So I guess all I'm asking for today is the demolition permit to at least take down the aluminum that's bolted to everything, and then attempt to remove the I-beams or to explore what they're attached to. Did you have the estimate from Johnson Signs on that?
I don't know about it should be.
Yeah, it's in here.
Is that for the original, like the blade, or
I don't-
the hanging sign, the suspended sign?
No, the proposal for removing the,
No, I didn't have that for the demo. Nope. Yeah.
it's two, front and back.
So if you demo it, how long will it sit there demolished without a plan to replace it?
Well, we'd have to fix it immediately because it'll be open to the weather. So,
So it's kind of hard to approve a demolition permit without knowing what the plan is to replace it.
that makes sense.
And for you, it's probably hard to know what the replacement plan is until you know what's
Take it back.
with the I-beams.
You could also approve the demolition part of it, but then have a contingency plan that something needs to be in transit, and
Something-
it has to be done by a certain date, by a certain time, something along that.
Could we ask for like a approved demolition of this existing piece? And I think there's some safety and also safety of the building issues, just the health of the building. Approve that, but then say that the replacement proposal needs to come back to us within
Correct.
so many
Oh, yeah.
days.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep. And then also Jerry Blue, building inspector, is aware of all of this. And then once this comes down, he will be working with him to find out, what needs to happen and a building permit and everything. So,
Oh, yeah. I've met all the inspectors.
Yes.
Had any real snow yet,
No.
but it could happen. So is 90 days? Because it's going to be real hard to get out and do some of that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at you all wondering what an appropriate time is.
What do you think it is, Mr. Grass?
I think 90 days is more than adequate. I would want to get it done much sooner than that. I have no interest in having a building with big scar holes in the front of it, especially with, the big toy stores opening on, their grand opening's February 1st. I'd really like the building to be presentable for that. So I'm going to move as quickly as I can, especially since the weather has been so nice. It'd be nice to get it done before, we get the snow that is probably coming.
I was thinking one of the things that's in your favor, though, is the fact that since the building's already painted, if you're repairing those holes and you've come up with some other system for attaching the new canopy, that finding an exact match to a 1950s brick.
Oh, the building is not currently painted.
Oh, the building, oh.
No, it's a brick veneer. It's like a sandstone brick.
So
It's a
when
very
you said
soft brick.
And I guess I was confused.
In the spring, we would like to paint it in a color scheme that matches the building next to us, which is the color scheme that's used on the interior.
So you are planning to paint what are
Yes.
now unpainted bricks?
Correct.
Something that would have to come back.
Come back
also.
to you, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I know. Yep.
Got it.
I'm one of the people that follows all the steps. I do all the, you know,
It might help your process move along faster if in 90 days, when you have a proposal for the canopy, that it includes the entire plan for the exterior, then you don't have to keep coming back.
oh,
Just do it all at once. Don't
Okay.
you think? Yeah.
Pansy, you want
Oh,
to-
absolutely.
I just want to write that down.
Sure.
Paint colors, canopy, any kind of architectural changes that you want to make, just do it all at once. And then we get a better view of what to expect.
Gotcha.
I think I've asked all my questions.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
I would propose that we approve the demolition with the additional request that within 90 days, the petitioner comes back with a plan for the replacement canopy and any other exterior architectural changes that we would like to make.
Do we have support?
Support. Yeah.
Any more
I mean,
discussion?
we gotta let the guy get going, you know?
Yeah. And it's a safety issue, I think, for the public, so it's important that we allow that to progress.
Yeah, that and the sidewalks. We've got some sidewalk issues we got to deal with. The inlays, you know, they've sunk down below the level of the concrete, so people trip. Like me, the day of closing, right on my face, right in front of the store.
When you're doing this demolition, will you have to close the sidewalk?
Yeah, we'll
The
probably,
pedestrian-
we have, well, we won't need to when we're taking down these metal, all the metal strips to expose the I-beams, because they're only about this wide and 6.5 feet long. They can't weigh more than, they're aluminum, so they can't weigh more than a few pounds, and they're held up by 4 screws, and all that can be done from underneath. It won't be until we get to the point with the I-beams. Johnson Sign has something in there about permits and roping it off, but they do it from the street. They have crane trucks. So that's how they did the canopy takedown. So I leave it to the professionals. I'm pretty skilled at a lot of things, but not at that. Canopy teardown's not one of the things I did growing up.
And I could always talk to Chief Glass, maybe he's got, you know, some extra rope or even cones or something like that, so that would not be a problem to make sure of safety.
We have a dumpster in
Safety will
front
be
right now, and we had
important.
to cone off the dumpsters.
Yep, exactly,
People
so,
kept parking right.
Yeah. We have a motion on the floor in support. Can we take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Connor,
Yes.
Commissioner Humboldt,
Yes.
Commissioner Trucks, Commissioner Kenny,
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very
All right.
much for your time and your
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you.
The quicker you get it back to us, the quicker we can approve things and make sure everything is moving.
All right.
Commission for 2 years. You have been the, I want to say, probably the most knowledgeable about buildings of any petitioner we've heard
Thank you.
so far. So thank you for
I've
loving the
I
building so
started
much.
out flipping houses. I've done 4 houses here in Manistee before I decided to go commercial, and I love old buildings. This is the newest thing I've ever worked on. It's like, ooh, copper plumbing, what? You know, grounded electrical, I don't know what to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yes.
Good luck with the project. It's
Yes.
exciting.
Really, so I
Look forward to watching it progress.
Major
Thomas,
piece of work.
Jerry, sorry, about the
So we're gonna move on to old business.
Oh, yeah, or just call them. That's it. Yeah, that's fine. No problem. Well, thank you.
Was this? Mr.
Oh, that's his. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Looking at old business, it looks like Lee signed a letter of support for the Old Kirk Museum. Thank you. Anything else? What's the 383 River Street handrail?
Okay, so in your packet, I had given you the 383 Street handrail on the east side of the Vogue. This had been approved in the minutes several years ago, I want to say like 2017. They finally got a donor that's going to do it and pay for it all, and so that handrail is going to be going up, and I went ahead and signed off on it and got all the approval, so this is going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure when exactly they're gonna be starting, but that's gonna be there. So, yeah, let me know that.
Great, thank you.
Yep,
And what's the update on 99 Pine Street?
yep, he can help out.
Mark?
I emailed Miss Ann Smith Dye, and she emailed me back. Let me find her here. She said that after a year, oh no, let's see, we'll start a little bit earlier. We have heard that properties that border our homestead at 99 Pine may be sold and apartments built sometime in the future. Indeed, over the years, we have been approached with informal offers to purchase our property. However, our priority is to keep the house and use it to host some kind of activity that benefits the community and commemorates our family. The historic marker, which will be put there as part of that agenda. After a year of working with Eastern Michigan University on the marker application and verbiage, in September 23, the Michigan Historical Commission granted permission to erect a historical marker for Raymond and Anna Mae Smith at 99 Pine Street. We are making arrangements for the two-sided markers installation and hope the official ceremony will take place in summer of 2024. I was excited to learn from the December 6th meeting that the city of Manistee may be able to support us in our efforts to keep our homestead and the possibility of a single-site historic district. Feel free to share my name and email with the member of blah, 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 blah. Teresa has invited Betty, her sister, and Lois, her sister, to attend a Historic District Commission meeting and present a brief overview of the Smith family, our 99 Pine Street homestead, and its importance in Manistee's rich history. Again, thank you for your continued interest in the Smith family, and so on and so forth. So.
Do I understand they want to make a presentation to the commission?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I think
Yep.
that Tracy invited.
Yep, when the weather gets better.
The
Yep.
sisters to come, Betty
Yeah.
and Lois and possibly Ann, all sisters to come and
Yeah.
talk about it. So yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Cool.
So what we're hoping is when the weather gets better, maybe May, and then like they said, August or September, we could all be invited and go, and I think that would be great to go for like a ribbon cutting ceremony or whatever they have for the sign, so, yeah.
Well, I'm pleased that that email said that they are interested potentially in the single-site historic district.
Sure. Yeah. I think they
Something that we
something they
haven't
could
done
certainly-
yet
Yeah.
in the community,
Yeah. Something
so.
we could certainly look into. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yep. Thank you.
Mark?
Nice.
On a slightly related matter, I did present the idea of the Smith home being some sort of a historic meeting center or whatever, to the Manistee Area Racial Justice and Diversity Initiative. And it unanimously was in favor of supporting this project any way that it could be supported, although I don't know what that would be at this point. But certainly, everybody's interested in the project and thinks it's worthy and should be supported.
Good.
Very good. Okay, do you want to review the permits?
Yes, so I've placed,
Before we-
Go ahead, sorry.
I thought old business, there should have been an item on the outsider and on the building Joe Mathewson owns, which I don't remember the numbers of either. But the last meeting, didn't we bring up that we were going to ask for an update on that. I think I brought it up.
Oh, did you? My
Yeah, outside-
apologies.
The outsider was a question of.
Oh, that was
plywood-
over
plywood.
there, yes, the
Yeah.
outsider, yes.
And
They're
then the
both
second,
Same block.
Yeah, that Ron, yes, that Ron had told me earlier, yes.
on Oak Street, actually, the windows, it's an eyesore to begin with, and then they slap some new windows in that's maybe less than the eyesore, is still not
Okay.
the way it should be.
Well, my apologies.
That also is, I'm not sure what the status is in terms of this, of the circuit court. Because I think they were involved in that, weren't they?
With Mathewson, I'm not sure if Katie would be able to give you an update, but it did
Okay.
go to the city attorney for opinion, but I don't believe it ever ended up in court.
Okay,
I just really want to get it on the agenda or on the
Yes.
minutes so that we can follow it.
yes. My apologies. I'll make sure that that gets done. So the permit report I had placed in everyone's spot, it is two-sided. So we can start with the permit report for the certificates of appropriateness. And now I did not print all of the permit reports. That will be available tomorrow at my planning commission. That will be building and all of that. So that way too, we know how much fees, how much income has come in for that. So as you can see, those are listed there with the addresses, and then the total for that was $1,000, so it was 23 permits for last year. It started at 1/1 of 2023 to 12/26, 2023 that I printed it. And on the next side, obviously, not all of the signs were in the historical district, but you can tell by the addresses which ones are. And I just wanted you to view those and just see that that was on there. 15 permits total of $600. Any questions on any of them?
Some of these are closed, right?
Yes, oh, yes.
I guess
Yeah,
what we
well-
originally were tracking before was a permit report that showed the open projects that had been approved and were somewhere in the process.
Right, so some of these, they have a year. Once they are opened, they have a year from there. But still trying to go through which ones are finished and completed. A lot of them were closed out when the position was transferred over to me. So I do not know, like I need to go through each one of these and not had the time to see which ones are still open, not completed.
What might speed up that process, and I appreciate what you just said, is that Katie had, I think, pretty close to it, to a list of only open projects.
Okay,
that
that we
were
had
very
when we
recent.
first started, I think in October, right, that's right. That I had printed off, or she had had from like July or August, one of her last meetings. You're right, I will use that. I didn't even think about that.
Those were usually included in our packets with
Okay.
Katie, so if you can't find it, and I know how my desk is, so just let one of us know, and we could probably email it to you.
Okay, well, and I should be able to reference back all of those old minutes and look through there, so I can do that. And do you guys want that every month then, just to show which are open and which ones are closed?
I don't,
Maybe add any new permits to the list.
Okay.
And we can review that, because sometimes we don't get all of the applications. They're approved by Mark at the museum, and the first time we may see it is at the meeting.
Okay, all right, yeah, like this one right here, that this one came in, but I made sure that you guys knew it for this month, right, right.
Right.
since I'm leaving, it's really up to you, but I think having so much on here that's closed complicates or confuses this.
Okay.
I think it was really the open and new ones that we were interested in tracking and following, so that.
Sure.
My view would have been, yes, that's what we want, open and new, not closed.
Okay,
I don't know how you
yep,
all
so
feel.
Yeah, I think at the end.
it's
of the
gonna be
day-
the, any new and any open.
Yeah, I think, because at the end of the day, if we've met as the commission and we have voted on a certificate of appropriateness, we would like to know how it was completed, or
Right.
whether it was completed, or whether there's issues still going on with it.
Or whether it's expired and not completed.
Completed,
Kind of.
correct. Yep,
If it needs any attention from us, or if it's new and we're not aware of it.
okay.
Yeah.
Nope, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
thank you.
welcome.
Okay, any public comments and communication concerning items not on the agenda? Hearing none, let's move on to reports. Main Street DDA Director, not here. Mark, Museum Coordinator.
I have nothing.
Curator, okay, thanks for being here. Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Okay, so first I want to thank Angie for giving me the invite. I did take the early 20th century architecture, looking to the past and to the future. It was fun to take it because some of the pictures that they would present, I know where that's at, Miami. I know where this is at, just from my experience of traveling. Very good class, Angie, so I want to tell you thank you for inviting me and inviting the others to attend that, and so I did that one, so I wanted to make you all aware of that one.
I enjoyed it also. I didn't take the class live, but after the class was over with, because I had a conflict, I was able to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Which, it was still good.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. I wasn't able to.
Oh, okay.
Registered for either, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nice about those, is my understanding is that the state's preservation, the SHPO is buying the membership to
Yes.
National Alliance of Preservation Commissions for each of the commissions. So
Right.
if you're not getting stuff from them regularly, you know,
And
that
actually, I
was-
just started about a month ago getting stuff, yep. I don't think that I was on part of a mailing or something, or it was to Katie and now to me, so, yep. Yep, I am now, so.
Excuse me. So there's no charge for the classes for us because of the membership. So classes are free.
Yep, been very good.
So actually, I tried to sign up today for one that is available next week on January 11th, and it is basically how to even determine whether something could be a local historic district. One of the presenters is a guy named Adrian Scott Fine, who I actually know from years ago when I worked in preservation in Indiana. Should be really good, but I tried to sign on, and I don't have the code this time to do it for free. And I looked back and I didn't find it in my emails.
In your emails?
So, anyway, it's January 11th. I'm happy to forward things to you again if you want to pass it out to everyone.
Sure.
But I don't know where the discount code is this time.
Right, unless they're gonna wait a couple days ahead of time and then send it back out to you, but they didn't that last time.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
okay.
Anything else you want to share with us?
No, nothing at this time.
Any member discussion?
Can I get a clarification on where we're at with you and the outsider? You know, we talked about it briefly before the meeting started. When Katie was here at her last meeting, she was literally going to confront those people about the fact that we had approved this and that and whatever it was gonna be, and then it's totally different from what we approved. So where are we at with that, with you?
Right, and as we kind of spoke beforehand, I don't recall anything except being reminded by William just a few minutes ago about checking that place out. When I started on, given kind of a large list from Katie to go over reference, and I can go back to that, it was probably something that was just missed, not discussed, looked past. But now that you've brought it to the attention, we're gonna make sure that it gets on the notes, make sure that, on the minutes, and that's draft, so then I can review that along with, like you said, the Oak Street, the windows, all of that. Make sure that that gets done and get an answer for you by the next meeting.
And maybe just add it under old business, and then we'll all keep a reminder.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
thank you.
yep. So I will find out. Yep.
Anybody else?
I just have a question, since I'm retiring again. Do I do something, or my term is ending, so I don't think I have to resign? I just fade away.
Well, the next thing is,
Just go away?
so what I would appreciate is any of you actually, you know, give me some names, give me some information, a little bit of background of somebody maybe that you would recommend or that you've talked to that is interested, has kind of the credentials or some experience. So, you know, I would love to take that up. So then we can get a letter out, speak to somebody, find out what area they live in, you know, all of that. So I would appreciate that.
We'll have to think about that.
I would just like to thank Mr. Grass for coming in today, but I wanted to reiterate what Angie mentioned, but didn't really, wasn't discussed in any detail, and that's the fact that taking a mid-century building like that and trying to make something that is fake Victorian, I'm not sure that the commission would smile on that. Okay. Just keep that in mind.
Good. Anybody else?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Talked to a couple of people in our neighborhood.
We get support?
Possibility of coming in, they both look.
All in favor, I believe.
I think we're good.
You know, I mean, and Dennis, I don't know if Dennis,
Oh.
what is there, you know, or?
I don't know.